You already know something is off. You feel it, but you can't name it. You watch someone walk into a room and they don't apologize for being there. They don't rush to explain themselves. They don't shrink. And somewhere deep inside you, something aches. Because you've been shrinking for a long time. This is about what you've been doing wrong. Not because you're weak, but because nobody ever told you the truth. Most people spend their entire lives explaining themselves to people who never asked. Justifying choices to people who don't care. Defending boundaries to people who will never respect them. And the exhausting part isn't the conversations. It's what happens before them. The rehearsing, the planning, the mental performance you put on in your own head before you've even spoken a single word. That is not communication. That is fear wearing the costume of responsibility. Think about the last time you said no to something. Really think. Did you just say no? Or did you say no and then immediately begin the apology tour? The well, it's just that. The I really would, but I hope you understand. You turned one word into a paragraph, and that paragraph wasn't for them. It was for you. It was your nervous system trying to pre-negotiate the loss of their approval before they could take it away. Confident people don't do that. Not because they don't care about others, but because they've learned something that took years to understand. Disapproval is survivable. Read that again. Disapproval is survivable. Every time you over-explain your no, you are telling the world that their comfort matters more than your truth. You are trading your self-respect for a few seconds of social ease. And the price compounds. Every soft no trains the people around you that your boundaries are negotiable. Every over-explained decision tells them your standards are up for debate. You don't even realize you're doing it. That's the dangerous part. Now look at your phone. Go ahead. How many times did you check it today before you checked in with yourself? Before you asked yourself what you actually wanted, what you were actually working toward? The phone isn't the problem. The habit is. The reflex of reaching outward when you feel uncomfortable instead of sitting still in the discomfort and letting it teach you something. Confident people have learned to tolerate open loops. They don't need instant resolution. They don't respond immediately to prove they care. They don't rush decisions to make the tension disappear. Because they know that speed, in most cases, is just anxiety with better branding. Anxiety wants everything solved right now. Confidence can wait. Confidence trusts the process, even when the process is slow, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Especially then. You are not behind, but you are distracted. And distraction at your age, at this stage, in this moment of your life, is the most expensive thing you own. Every hour lost to scrolling is not just an hour gone. It is a version of yourself that never gets built, a skill that never gets practiced, a habit that never gets locked in. You cannot see the cost in real time. That's why it feels harmless. The damage is invisible until the day it isn't. Until the day you look up and realize that everyone around you moved while you were watching everyone else move. Comparison is a thief that leaves no fingerprints. You don't feel it stealing from you. You just feel empty afterward. You look at what someone else has built, and instead of using it as fuel, it becomes a mirror that makes you feel smaller. And then what do? You explain yourself. You justify where you are. To yourself, to others, to the voice in your head that keeps asking why you aren't further along. Stop explaining where you are. Start building where you want to be. That is the shift. It is not complicated, but it is hard. Because building requires showing up when you don't feel like it. It requires discipline on the days motivation has completely disappeared. And motivation will disappear. Count on it. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes. Discipline is a resident. It stays when everything else leaves. The confident person is not more inspired than you. They are more committed to acting without inspiration. They don't wait to feel ready. They move and readiness follows. That is not a motivational phrase. That is a neurological reality. Action changes brain state. Sitting still and waiting to feel motivated is like waiting to feel warm before you start the fire. Start the fire. Warmth comes after. Here is what no one tells you about the people you admire. They are not operating on a different level of talent. They are operating on a different level of consistency. They showed up the day it didn't count. They practiced when no one was watching. They built the structure of their day, and then they protected that structure like it was the most important thing they owned. Because it was. Structure is not restriction. Structure is what freedom is built on. Chaos feels like freedom until you realize you have built nothing inside of it. You know this already. Some part of you has always known this, and that part of you is tired. Tired of starting over. Tired of almost. Tired of watching another year pass with the same intentions and different excuses. The excuses are sophisticated now. You've had time to refine them. It's the timing. It's the circumstances. It's the fact that things aren't set up yet. But here is the hard truth, said with respect and zero judgment. The person who is succeeding where you want to succeed did not have better circumstances. They had a different response to bad ones. Ownership. Full, unconditional ownership over what they could control, even when it wasn't fair. Especially when it wasn't fair. Fairness is a conversation for later. Right now, there is work. Confident people don't explain their identity to people who have already decided what it is. They don't enter arguments about their worth. They don't chase understanding from people committed to misunderstanding them. And this is the part that will change everything if you let it. Your worth is not a debate. Your standards are not a negotiation. Your direction is not something that requires approval before it becomes real. The moment you stop performing confidence and start practicing it, something shifts. Your sentences get shorter. Your boundaries get cleaner. The noise around you quiets. Not because the world changes, but because you stop feeding energy into every voice that questions you. You are not too late. You are not too far behind. You are exactly where your choices have brought you. And that means every choice from this moment forward builds something new. That is not punishment. That is power. The most honest kind of power there is. So make a decision right now, not tomorrow, not when the time is right, now. Decide that you will stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve the explanation. Decide that you will stop waiting for motivation to show up before you act. Decide that your consistency will become the most intimidating thing about you. Decide that you will build in silence, in structure, in discipline, on the days when everything in you wants to stop, because the world does not reward explanation. It rewards presence. It rewards results. It rewards the person who showed up every single day without needing to be seen, without needing to be understood, without needing to justify every single step along the way. That person is still in you, quiet, waiting, not for permission, for your decision. Make it.